What is up, everyone? Chris Weiser coming to you guys live today. 7 Figures for Life is my brand and my name. I love it. We were here last week talking about how to grow your MSP, various different other things. Today, we have a more techie type theme with us. You guys know that I'm not the one to necessarily talk tech, so I bring in people to talk tech with me because I know you guys all want to hear that. So I brought on with me today Jeremy Cullen from Highwire Networks. What is up, my brother?
How's it going, guys? How's it going, Chris? Good to see you again, my friend.
It's going pretty good. We're coming into heat time in Austin. It's going to be 107 this week. I don't even know what to say about that. So it's now shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops weather. And I think you're on the East Coast, so you basically are the same, I believe, right? Like southern East Coast, right?
Yeah, in South Carolina, between Myrtle Beach and Charleston. Actually worked on my flip-flop can over last weekend, so all good here as well.
Boy, that's good progress. Cool. So what Jeremy and I are going to talk today is how to build your cybersecurity stack. There's been a lot of questions lately, specifically about MSPs having to, in fact, I saw a really good one last night that was, so I'm a standard MSP and it feels like we're now expected to do the MSSP type things. What do you guys all see including in that? And I will tell you, Jeremy, I don't know how much you guys see this, but on my side, in my client base, we see, I want to say 85% come in the door doing a very tiny bit of cybersecurity. They're doing a lot of what they used to do, which is your antivirus, some upgraded endpoint, but they're not getting into the guts of what cybersecurity is. They really aren't familiar with it. They're not comfortable with it. And the problem with that is your clients all think that you are doing that. Like, do you agree with that? Like the end user client all think that they're doing that?
Yeah, I guess it was about 2 or 3 months ago. We were talking to a prospect and now a partner who said that's one of the things they ask doing the QBRs is, do you think I'm doing everything I need to do to protect your environment? Because regardless of what they say, it's an easy pivot into the next discussion, which is cybersecurity.
Yeah. And the other problem, obviously, one of the things I'll tell you guys, we're not going to talk. It's weird for me saying we're not going to talk a lot of sales today, but we talk about this stuff all the time inside of my 7-figure MSP program in how to sell, how to present, how to bridge that gap. And I want to let you guys know, we're going to talk pretty techie today. This is a sponsor of this group, Highwire Networks, and your product Overwatch. And that's a security operations center. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you guys Jeremy, you brought up a really, really interesting point to me on Tuesday. We had kind of our pre-call for this webinar. Tell everybody what you brought up to me. And I think this is a fantastic place to start.
Right. So a lot of MSPs, you kind of have two different fields. People that have their one package, they approach with everybody. And a lot of others say, well, I have the better, best, and greatest. And they said, well, I don't add SOC until I get to the greatest platform. And really the best part is to add it at the bottom. So that way you present data to your customer doing QBRs or monthly reports on why they need to harden the rest of their environment to help them up that value ladder, if you would.
Yeah. So a really important thing as you're building your cybersecurity stack, and what Jeremy's saying, I'm just going to clarify this if it wasn't super clear, is almost every MSP, and I echo this, I totally agree with what you're saying. They look to add all your small things first. And then at the very end, they're like, okay, I need a SOC or a SIM, and that's way too much. That's too much to do, or that's too many things. You're saying flip opposite, put that in the front side and then sell down or package. And one of the things that we teach in my program is we teach how to bundle all of that in and just sell to the problem you solve. Stop worrying about individual products, bundle all of the things that your clients need. You're saying that you should start with the SOC. Give us the why behind, the real why behind that. Give me some guts behind why that's the thing.
We fully believe, and I know you do as well, is cybersecurity is a business issue, not a technology issue. So why would you wait to the end to put this on the top of the cake? This is the base of the cake.
That is a huge, huge answer right there. And all you guys thinking that's a light bulb answer. This is a business problem, not a technology problem. And as you get into this, one of the things I literally talked about this yesterday in our coaching call that we did. We do a weekly coaching call every week. And we talked about how 5, 8, 10 years ago, MSPs were not even problem solvers. They were widget deliverers. And that's kind of the same with a lot of people that are doing that now. When I say widgets, it's your individual tools like Office 365, email, spam, it's antivirus, etc. Now we're moving into the risk mitigation space, the business problem space, right? And I think that goes right along with what you're saying, because I don't care whether you're a one-person client end user shop or your client is a 4,000 person CPA firm. They have the same business problems with cybersecurity and hacking and all those things that go along with it. Am I on the right base here?
You're correctly right. There's so much money to be made from the bad actors' point of view. They're attacking everybody across the space.
Yeah. And even, and then the other thing for you guys is, and Jeremy, this is like my brain just starts going when we start thinking about these things. What does the threat landscape look like during COVID? It's like going way up, right? Yeah,
it's everywhere with the BYOD devices people are using when they're working from home. It's across the whole landscape. But what people have to start thinking about is the perimeter has changed. It's no longer the firewall and the endpoint protection that you spoke of before. It's like, what's important to us is we want to get all that data in so we can monitor it correctly and we can detect those threats and anomalies.
So when you talk about the perimeter has changed, let's clarify that. And let me tell you what I heard in that. The work from home factor comes into play. Is that what you're saying when you say the perimeter has changed?
That, as well as like Office 365, G Suite, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, AWS, the whole mobile devices, everything.
Okay, cool. Okay. So also, and then, so from a SOC side of things, obviously we're saying we want to lead with SOC. You guys are a great place for that. We'll talk about that coming on the back end. What other things should MSPs see in terms of a tool set? A lot of MSPs talk about still, and this is crazy to me, but I still hear a lot of guys talking about standard antivirus versus high level endpoints. I see you rolling your eyes on that one, but I hear this all the time. And it's interesting because in the United States, we don't hear it nearly as much, but we are now seeing this across the globe. Like I service across the globe and the other markets are just a little bit behind. So they're still selling standard antivirus. What's your take on what type of endpoint security product and where that should be in the stack?
Well, I think what you're noticing is a big transition to everything moving to a EDR, MDR, and what we utilize in our platform is an open XDR. So we want to be able to integrate and respond back to the different endpoint solutions that we have out there. Part of the issue that we have in our space, if you would, there's too many point solutions to choose from. I think it's over 1,400 right now. A lot of them just aren't communicating together. And the second one is we don't have enough cybersecurity analysts to help monitor all the different point solutions. And the third one is, as MSPs, as partners, when these point solutions start spitting out information, it's on us to respond to that and take action. We'll look at problem number 2. Not enough people.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So, so one of the things why it's really important to partner with a SOC vendor, just like you guys, is, and clarify if I'm wrong on this in any case, you guys take that manpower piece on so they don't have to deal with that. Am I right? Because that's a major, and this is actually one of the biggest reasons why you partner with a SOC first, because you can offload some of that. How do you guys, am I right with that whole concept, what I just thought?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So we have the platform plus our 24/7 SOC as a service on top of it. Our cyber analysts are based out of Batavia, Illinois. We have a data center in the U.S.
Did you just drop an Illinois on me?
Hey, go Bears, right?
I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin's, so we make fun of them Bears fan all the time. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was just funny, and I wanted to get under Mark's skin a little bit.
Football later for sure, but yeah, no. So that's a lot of the big issues that our partners face is they don't have the capital or the wherewithal or the expertise to man a SOC and to take care of it. Their whole operation is to be the VCIO and to growth mindset for their own business and their customers' business.
Yeah. So a good thing for you guys to think, and somebody just asked on the chat, just so you guys know this, what's the name of the company? Your guys' company is called Highwire Networks. Your main product is called Overwatch. We're going to give you guys a demo opportunity at the end. Go ahead.
Yeah, Overwatch is the team at Highwire Networks that offers the completely managed security service. Overwatch 24/7 is our SIM SOC as a service, if you would.
Yeah. And somebody just said he can't even say Illinois right. Well, he doesn't live in Illinois. He's not from Illinois.
Hey, I'm from the South. Take it easy on me, y'all.
He's a Southerner, y'all. I got made fun of down here when I moved to Texas because we didn't say y'all all the time. So, they called us Yankees is what they called us. So don't sweat that, man. We're Midwesterners. We can't talk like the Southerners at all. So it's fine. Okay. So name of the company is Highwire Networks. Your name of your team and your product is Overwatch. So let's get a little bit more into some of the details of this and why a SOC is key and why a SOC is first. Taking time off of your plate. The biggest thing that MSPs are coming to me, talking to me about is I can't add cybersecurity because I don't have the time, and I don't have the tool set, and I don't have the skill set to do this. Your SOC product takes all that, and your suggestion is to start with that completely first.
That's correct. So Highwire Networks has been around for nearly 20 years. One thing to remember, guys, is we're 100% channel only. So it's always a you plus us approach, and we're looking to make you the trusted advisor when it comes to cybersecurity for your clients.
Yeah. Okay. So with that in play, you talked about antivirus endpoint security products. Do you guys have any recommended paths for that? You don't have to name any products. I don't care about that. If you want to, you're welcome to, but you don't have to right now.
But we do that a lot with our partners and our prospects. We'll do like a stack review with them to talk about what makes best sense. We don't necessarily publicize any of that. So whether it's getting our CISO on the line or CTO, who's also a CISO as well, on the line to make the discussion, me or Travis or Joe or anybody on the account executive team, we have no problem doing that and discussing it.
So any recommended pieces underneath that, obviously, and there's like 20, 30, 40 things that they could potentially add. What are your guys' recommended potential stack items that you're looking at? I know you just mentioned that you do a stack review. What can you just give me a little more into that? So everybody wants to hear this.
Right. So as long as you have your next gen firewall, your endpoint protection, your VDR solution taken care of, whether or not you want to do vulnerability assessment or pen testing, our application, our platform can get ingestions from all those feeds. We have over 15 plus application built into our platform, so it's not just a SIEM. So it really just is a matter of how we can integrate and how we can respond to your different point solutions.
Yeah. And just so that you guys are looking at this URL that I just put in the bottom is the place you can go. And I know the Highwire team is actually watching this right now. If you guys want to drop that link right in the comments, that would be great as well. But you guys can see that link here on our page. That takes you to the demo side of things, right? So these guys can actually talk about the stack review. And how much does it cost for the stack review, just so we know on that?
It's free consultation. You can check our YouTube page out as well. There's a lot of little small videos about our platform. Fill out their contact form. We'll hop onto a 30-minute, an hour-long demo with you guys to really engage. One of our core values that Mark put in place many years ago is we don't sell service, we sell trust. We're about building a partnership over due time. So you'll find that out as you work with us.
Yeah. What do you guys think in terms of intrusion detection and prevention? Is that something that Overwatch does, or how does that work? 'Cause that's something that a lot of MSPs are not comfortable with. They don't understand that back end side. They think it's a super high. Is that something you can help with, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So we have a couple different packages, mainly our standard and advanced, and our advanced actually does the mitigation on your behalf. But just to let everybody know, if there's something going on in the middle of the night and we can't get in touch with you or your team, we're going to do what's right as far as security is concerned. So if we see a process running on a server that starts to encrypt files, we're going to stop it. We're not just going to shoot you an email, make a phone call, and watch your house burn down. We're going to make the correct step.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I think, let me just go through. I got a couple questions here that are starting to come in, and those of you that are watching with us, if you have questions at all, please put that in the comments in the post live with us here on the screen. Also, you can do that, and the Highwire team in general will be monitoring this. These guys are awesome. We've been working together for probably 6 months now, I think, give or take. Yep. You guys have seen, we actually haven't talked about this, but we have some clients that have seen some awesome results and some awesome case studies for you guys in terms of just using your product and making it happen. I really like the SOC first approach, and I really like the stack review thing. I think that's an awesome thing that you guys do. But let me see here. I got a couple different questions for you here. Does Overwatch sell to the end user?
No.
So you guys are channel. You guys are 100% channel only.
100% channel only. We do have partners that want us to engage with them, whether it's helping them do a demo for the end user or doing some type of review in their complex environment. But we always represent our partners.
Yeah, awesome. So that's a big factor, folks. They're not selling to your end users at all. We're seeing some of these bigger companies that partner, let's just take the big D word one, the 4-letter D word one. They do some of the stuff like this, but they're selling directly to your end users, and they're potentially kicking you out of the relationship. We also saw AT&T do this recently. They're actually going in the back end and doing some of these back end. I don't care if somebody's on AT&T doesn't like it. It is what it is. Like, you guys are doing that, and you're undermining the industry. You want to partner with everybody, but then you undermine the industry. Highwire is channel only. That is a huge thing that I love about you guys. Any other specific things related to channel only pieces for you?
So our core business really it's unique because a lot of MSPs can take advantage of it. So, over the past 20 years, we've been doing things such as low voltage cabling. Back in those days, Nortel rollouts, maintenance, and conversions. Also, AP deployments. We're usually in about 160 countries a year. I know this year will be a little different. And we have over 15,000 contractors that we work with globally. So a lot of MSPs, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, you start thinking geo-fenced in, and then you're only dealing with the clients in your area. But really, the ultimate growth is to find out verticals that you can go after, or go after clients in different regions. By utilizing our core service, we can help you roll out those projects and also maintain your SLAs or SLOs that you have for your clients.
Yeah. So, and I will tell you guys, I sold my MSP back in 2015, and I didn't have a chance to work with somebody. Like, we didn't even really have cybersecurity services. And that stuff didn't happen. I look at what this would do for an MSP now. You can have an entire cybersecurity team just with a single relationship. I just think it's got so much value to it. The channel only piece, there's just so many positives to it that are huge for you guys. So just had another question come in. What's the best way to add or package the SOC to an MSP offering or managed security offering?
That's a great question. It really depends on your fit and what you're used to. Obviously, we believe you should sell the whole package, but if you're dividing it up into better and best, so to say, it should be what you lead with, because the data that we give you that you can put in front of your end customer will allow you to move them up the value ladder to show them why they need to add on to other additional things. And one of those things that a lot of you guys are doing nowadays is security awareness training. We include that for free across Overwatch 24/7 for all your users.
Yeah, that's a pretty big factor too. I'm just gonna chime in on that one because I think that's something that definitely relates to what we do and what we train on. One of the things that we do, and actually that question that was in the group yesterday was leading into how do I sit down and talk to my existing client that I've been doing IT for this old traditional way, and I'm going to go back to them and say, okay, well, we need to do a lot more. There's two factors there that you guys have to think about. Number one, you're going to have to charge them more money. Like that, you're going to have to, unless you plan on donating your services to them. You're taking on a bunch of other costs. Number one, I would have that conversation, tell them the tools have changed. You've had to add things that are massively increasing your costs. So you have to bring those down. You need to make sure you're doing regular quarterly meetings with your clients. The bigger the client, the more often you should meet. My biggest client was a $5,000 a month plus client way back when. We met with them twice a month, actually, is what we met with them. So some people are like, I have to do QBRs. No, you have to do what the client relationship demands, and your services that you deliver related to cybersecurity should be what the client demands also. I 100% agree, Jeremy, with what you're saying in terms of packaging it all together in terms of one solution. Sell to the problem you solve, put that out in front of people. See, and here I am coming back with sales stuff on our techie webinar. That's what I
help
get.
Yourself. Yeah.
That's what I get. One other quick thing. You're going to have two people that you're going to have to go to, your new client, and you're going to have your existing client. That existing client relationship is going to be a little bit harder, but you still should lead with cybersecurity, tell them that the tools are changing, and lead with a risk assessment and show them how much risk you have. And at the very least, even if they say no to you, you can put your liability stake in the ground. Okay, liability stops here. I can't be liable for your cybersecurity. You're refusing to take it, even though I'm telling you I can't be liable for this. And you're potentially going to have some clients that say no, but you got to you got to decide, like, what's that risk look like? So I think that's a big factor. Any thoughts on that?
Well, the same problem that each MSP is facing, your competitors are facing in the same area, if you will. Yeah. So adding Overwatch as your partner is going to help you guys get into new arenas to where you don't have as many competitors, and the price point drives up even further. So as you bring on these new partners or new clients in those arenas, you can possibly divorce the older partners that are your older clients that aren't giving you that same type of respect that you need.
And that's a really big factor. The fact that you just said the MSP should feel empowered to divorce your client. It's okay to say no to a client. It's okay to fire them. Now, part of the thing that comes into this, and this is what, and Jeremy, you are an MSP too. So we get this stuff. You and I both get this, and we both ran this world. Most MSPs are charging so little. And I know there's some of you out there that aren't in this space. I get it. But most MSPs are charging so little that they're so desperate for every sale and every client that they can't fire anyone. So the biggest key is to make sure you're charging properly. If you're doing an all-inclusive solution, including cybersecurity, do you guys have a recommended price point? I know I do, but I don't know if you guys do.
It varies from most areas, but at minimum, we're seeing the floor entry at $30 per user for what the MSP should be charging once they're doing
just for cybersecurity add-on, just for the SOC add-on, or just for the SOC add-on? Yeah.
Just for
my suggestion to my clients is that you should be at a minimum of $250 per seat per month for your all-inclusive, including your cybersecurity. So that's your traditional managed services plus cybersecurity. We're not talking hardware as a service. We're talking specifically just the services. That's the starting point. We had a guy yesterday on our call that just closed the deal at 250. I think it was 60 seats at 215 a seat. So these deals are closing. They're happening. That's including full cybersecurity, all these different things. So you guys should be starting this price point at $250 a seat. And granted, I know he was 215, but he negotiated a 5-year term. So he let the price come down by negotiating a longer term deal. I'm okay with that. Like, that's funny. A 5-year deal at 215 a seat and he actually had increase worked in years 3, 4, and 5. So he had the ability to raise it based on the time. But look at, and when we go back to that and what we were just talking about, all of you that are watching, think what you're charging. And Jeremy, what do you think the average MSP seat that comes into, like the per seat price that comes into our program, what do you think the average is when they walk in the door to us?
Well, I know I'm embarrassed to say I know I fit into that group before I started doing some changes at my own MSP. I would say somewhere between 100 and 120, if not less.
$62 a seat. That's the average across all of North America coming into our program. As they move further along, they realize that they can charge properly, and it really affects. And my point for this, I know we've kind of segued off the techie stuff a little bit. My favorite, by the way, is the biggest reason for this is you have to have enough cash flow and profitability to allow for hiring a company like Highwire. Like, you have to be able to do that. Otherwise, even at $100 a seat, you cannot afford to do anything.
Right. What's one of your most favorite quotes is cash flow can fix any problem?
Most of these break fix guys don't agree with that, but it's really, really true. I promise you, if you have high profitable margin rich cash flow, you will solve any problem you got. Because you say, oh, I need to add a SOC. I don't have the guys to do it. Oh, we get enough cash. Let's hire Hirewire. Like, that's literally the mindset you have, and it's how it should be. So it's really, really key.
Well, so okay, to that point, adding a SOC, we're not, outside of them learning a little bit more about security and how they can become the trusted advisor, we're not adding more workload on them. They might have to harden their environment just a little bit as we work through the anomalies, but we're taking care of the 24/7 aspect of all the threat hunting. And I don't know if you guys remember, what was it, Cognizant that got hit a couple of weeks ago or 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was.
So our SOC team was able to go in and develop a search query, a correlation threat hunt on what that looks like in 5 minutes across our entire platform. In another 5 minutes it ran to make sure all of our partners and their end customers are safe.
I mean, think of the power of that. And that actually goes right into our question. I can't see who specifically this is because they didn't give permission to do this. It's like an app authorization thing. But so Facebook user, if somebody who that was wants to say who it was, I don't care. But what's the advantage of using the Overwatch service as opposed to building it?
Human capital and money. So I think on average, was it, Chris, it takes around 2 years to build a SOC and around $2 million. And then if you look at the human capital aspect of it, next year we're on pace to have 2.2 million unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs. So,
I don't even know why. Like, this is very similar to it's a very similar discussion to me that the discussion 10 years ago was, why should I build my own data center or partner with a big guy? And there never was any feasibility for me in building my own data center because the amount of liability, the amount of cost, the amount of other stuff. So I went to a channel only vendor partner and built my own virtual data center inside of their situation. I didn't go to the big guys. I went to a channel only partner and it worked out phenomenally. This is exactly the same discussion. It just has more risk, right? Am I right with how
completely right.
More risk with cybersecurity and building a crappy SOC, or, maybe you're really good at it, but are you in the building a SOC business is my question. You're in the managed, you should be having a sales and marketing firm that delivers IT and cybersecurity services business. That's what you should be, and not building the SOC business. Do you agree?
Completely agree. You look at all HVAC companies; they don't build the AC units.
Yeah. Yeah, that's almost like Home Depot built, or an HVAC vendor. They don't make their stuff from scratch. Some of the big guys like Apple does, but look at how much cash they have to have. Look at how much. And yeah, okay, if you're going to go worldwide, $50 billion a year company, maybe it makes sense. But this is a different animal here. My suggestion, 100% across the board, is to partner with a channel only vendor, build a relationship, and be able to scale up and down as you need it. Like it becomes a cash flow or a faucet, a service faucet. To me, that's what I see it as. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
No. And as far as the scaling, we make it very easy. We don't over prorate. We don't look at what you're changing from a day-to-day point as far as how many users we shirt up at the end of the quarter. So it's all about building that partnership again and selling on trust.
Yeah. Had another question come in. It's actually from Lisa from my team. She works directly with MSPs just like you guys do. Yep. She's my head of sales on my team. She just said, I have had a lot of questions come up in regards to an alternative VPN solution for companies now looking to go completely remote. Is that something you can help with? I don't know. This is just a random question that came in, but it's something that we hear on our side.
Yep. So we have what we call a zero trust remote access offering. It just came out a couple months ago. Unfortunately, it was a couple weeks later. We didn't plan for COVID coming out so soon, right?
You didn't plan for COVID? What's wrong with you? Come on.
Who knows? So what it does, it allows companies to use their BYODs. If you think of anything from a hotel kiosk to the BYOD device, and it creates a container-like type of VPN to where we're not only monitoring everything that's going on, but we're only allowing them to have access to what they need, whether it's RDP back to their workstation or having access to Automate or ConnectWise PCA if you have it on-prem, or a SAP application if you would. And it doesn't allow them to move laterally. And you don't care. It's a zero trust approach. So you don't mind at all how infected or whatnot the laptop has. Even if it has a keylogger on it, they will not be able to track what's going on inside of our environment as they're using the application.
So this really gives you a true monitoring and control portion for those work from home deal. And I will tell you, we actually had this discussion on my coaching call like 3 weeks ago. What's going to be the next big thing? And I think it's going to be the remote workforce and securing the remote workforce, because I'm going to tell you guys, if you think this is going to flip back to everybody going back to your offices, I think you're absolutely crazy. Right. I'm in Austin, Texas, which is a pretty tech city. WeWork is dying right now, already dying. And they're almost all of their clients have moved out and they've given them notice. It's kind of crazy. The guy that runs WeWork Austin bought my old house just coincidentally. So I know the guy a little bit. He's telling me that these clients are walking away from their leases, paying them off and saying, we're not coming back. And they're just going to leave. They transitioned, they went over that forced hump. And now that's like, oh, it's easy. So this gives you an avenue to control that.
Correct. Because you don't have to buy the laptop. You don't have to put any monitoring software on there. You roll out the application and you're good to go.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable.
And it helps check all the boxes off, and it's really unique. If you guys ever want any demo, go to our contact page and let us know. Just put ZTRA in the comments, and we'll follow up with you.
Yeah, I think that's really key. And the other thing is a single scalable platform across all of your clients is another big deal to me. That I was very much a standardization guy when I had my MSP. I always modeled what I did off the Southwest Airlines model, which is basically one plane across their entire fleet. So we had. Look at that. Think about what this does. It allows you to not have to worry about controlling all the laptop endpoints and all these other things that they've put in place. That's a big deal. That's a big deal that I didn't even think of.
And it fits into our model. It's really truly around the open XDR and becoming a vendor agnostic type of approach, because sometimes you do want to change your firewall from one to the other. Sometimes you go into a client's environment and they just bought $5 million or $500,000 worth of infrastructure equipment. They're not going to change it out just because you're not used to servicing it. So we try to take that same type of approach.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So for those of you that are just joining us, we've had a lot of people on here live with us right now. For those of you that are just joining us right now or are watching this on the recording, this is Jeremy Cullen from Highwire Networks. And on the bottom there, you can see their demo link. You can just sign up there. You can also comment on this, and Jeremy's going to go back and tackle every one of you. So that's really key.
Jeremy, we should have Travis Ray and Abby Gunnick and Mark Porter and some others are probably in chat. So if you guys want to know any more information right now, please comment. They would love to get back in touch with you immediately.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a couple of comments here. Here's one that just came in. We were just talking about shutting down 3 of our remote offices since their lease ends this year. So he's he's an MSP having that discussion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Commercial.
Very, very relevant and key. Here's another question. This is from Kevin Aceveno. What does your solution look like in GFW with client app? He's talking about the work from home piece, I believe.
Right.
And
so we have a connector or a authenticator, if you would, to verify who the user is, and then they connect with the connector behind in the local area network where we're connecting to. So that it creates the container, if you would, so that way all the data is back and forth between the end user and their client or their home, if you would, not through our authenticator.
Yeah. And one thing I want you guys to think about with this, Victor, I saw you just mentioned there about SonicWall. I'm not going to say that's not an option, but the problem you have is you're not going to have a team that goes along with it. You're going to have to be the contact point. You're not going to have all these different pieces to work with that. And, so what does the firewall solution look like for you guys? How do you work with somebody like Victor that has a SonicWall in place at, 10 clients? What does that look like for you guys?
From our Overwatch 24/7, we integrate with any firewall. So it's just about ingesting that information. Where we are at with our SOAR capabilities differ between every firewall, but we're working on getting to that point with all of them. So we can get the information in, we can apply, we can look at firewall anomalies. As we all know, firewalls aren't built to have the horsepower to really look and say, okay, this firewall rule hasn't been hit in the last 4 days. Now all of a sudden it's getting hammered. They're just going to follow the rule that you put in place. We will be able to detect those anomalies and respond accordingly to it. So that's part of the Overwatch 24/7. If you're thinking about the zero trust remote access, to your point, Chris, when you're using those type of VPNs, it is secure on connecting to the local area network, but once they're connected, there is no log of where they're moving laterally inside that. There is no control for the most part.
Yeah, I think this is all pretty key, folks, because if you're going to be truly profitable and be, like I said earlier, a sales and marketing firm that delivers IT and cybersecurity services, you have to have a scalable entity, and you have to not be super hyper focused on you, the CEO, or you, the owner. And we just see this, and I know there's some big MSPs out there, I get it, that are watching this. I totally get it. And you guys potentially have a solution for that. But I'm going to tell you, 90+% of the MSPs that we talk to, it's probably higher than that. 90 plus pushes all the way up to 99.9. So that's fine. But almost all of the MSPs that we talk to are struggling to scale this and putting all this stuff on their back. You can't do it. Like, there's no way you can do this. It's an impossible scale solution without a partner like Highwire. So, okay, a couple other quick questions that are coming in. Let's see here. I don't know how well you can answer this one because you're not super hyper geek. You look like a hyper geek, but you're not super hyper geek. Does your solution use an AI, global threat intelligence, data lake, your own imported? What does that look like? And if you want, we can have that answered in the comments later. I know the
So AI and machine learning are a big part of it. So the platform that we utilize was based off of data mining at first, and they started adding this threat intelligence. We have 4 different threat feeds that come into the environment. Yes, it is built on a data lake. It's not our own. We believe that some of the best products are better to utilize what they specialize in. Some of the ones that are built internally are only integrating with other of their own type of products. Again, ours is based around something called OpenXDR, which you'll probably start seeing being judged in the Gartner Magic Quadrant in probably 18 or 24 months.
Yeah, that's pretty key. So
I'm not sure what he meant by imported.
Well, and I think he's talking about whether you're using somebody else's. I think for the most part, and you answered the question. So, and I think it's actually a lead by example. You guys are drinking your own Kool-Aid type of thing. You're saying the MSP, do what you're good at. Let us outsource to us for these other good SOC related pieces. We do the same thing with our threat intelligence side. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Got a couple more questions here. Looks like Susanna and your team answered on there that someone's going to reach out to Steve. So that's huge. Will Overwatch 24/7 mitigate or stop the threat on your behalf if that's what you prefer?
Correct. Yes. So we believe mitigation is the best response that we can do. Some clients that we have would like to do a value add where we investigate, detect, and respond and inform them and guide them on how they can mitigate. But again, as we spoke about earlier, if there is something going on and we can't get in touch with the MSP partner, we will mitigate on their behalf. But if you look at the total labor profitability that you can have once you add mitigation, it helps us lower the mean time to detection and mean time to response.
Well, and I think if I remember right, you guys also have a run book that you do for every environment that you have. And
That is correct. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say the benefit of that plus your team and the scalability for you, you can think of the headache. I can't even fathom the headache of trying to build your own SOC, trying to deal with that. What does it look like? And how long is it going to take you to get good at it? And how much money? We talked about that earlier. I just can't even fathom what that looks like. And why would you want to do it? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. So
maybe to say that you did, but it's not going to help you become more profitable to grow any sooner. And that's not why you run a business.
Yeah. And that's the thing I want you guys to think about as we're watching this is you should be focused on not being the best tech tinkerer. That stuff's great. It's neat. But if nobody's buying your stuff, it doesn't matter. You started a business to build a lifestyle and to build a machine. This is a really key. That's kind of why I have this whole 7 figures for life mindset. Like this is a mindset thing that I put across my team and my clients and our whole community that we built. This plugs right into that because it's all about scalability. Imagine a plug and play SOC that works with all the stuff you already have and all it just frees up time and makes you a bigger, better expert.
Right.
That's the way I see it. That's literally how I see it.
And just to go back, the run book. So what our service delivery team works with our MSP partners on every tenant, if you would, that they onboard, saying, how do you want us to respond? Who are we going to contact? And it's not if this happens, we will only do that. We have our SOAR capabilities where we can do anywhere up to 5 or 6 or 7 different type of reactions. So whether that's block an IP in the firewall, disable an Active Directory user, Microsoft 365 user, or send your team an email, et cetera, et cetera. Send a webhook to the integration as well.
Yeah, that's key. So somebody just asked here, what does the word SOC mean? And just so you guys know, it's SOC, not like the one.
I do have some Overwatch socks though. If anybody's interested, let me know.
And it's okay because my guess, and this is either somebody that's coming in brand new, which is totally fine, but it also potentially is somebody overseas. These guys aren't seeing a lot of this stuff yet. This is a big thing in America, but they're not seeing it overseas, especially Australia. I've seen Australia is a little bit behind. It's not a bad thing, folks. This is why we're doing these webinars and why we're teaching you guys. SOC means, Jeremy?
Security Operations Center. So it's kind of like your network operations center, but taking it to a whole new level. For us, we're monitoring your entire landscape to detect for threats and anomalies. Just real quick, we don't believe in false positive. We believe it happened. So it's all about trying to figure out whether or not that anomaly is benign or a threat, and that way we can respond accordingly.
Yeah. So SOC, SOC means Security Operations Center. And then other guys see the term SIM. What it's SIEM. What does that mean?
Yep. Security Information Event Management. So it's a very older tool that really just looks at the event logs. And the problem with just that one approach, it does create a lot of alert fatigue because it's too hard to understand what's going on and to add context across the entire environment. And it's very hard to respond to it in near real time. A lot of times we're using that more of a forensic approach than we are actually mitigating the issue.
Yeah. So at what level, and I know we're getting a little bit deep in the weeds here, but we're getting some questions of people that don't necessarily understand what these things mean. So I want to make sure people get educated.
Okay.
At what point and what level, and we talked about this in the open, so if you guys are coming late and you didn't watch this, but at what point should somebody add a SOC and at what point should somebody add a SIM?
You should
I think SOC out of the SOC. And keep in mind, let me clarify this. Keep in mind, we have an MSP. We have majority MSPs in this room, not as many MSSPs in this group. You know, we got 9,000 members, but we're probably, I'd say 90% MSP, if not higher. Most of these guys have never done anything past endpoint security,
right?
Not even advanced endpoint security. At what point do they say, I'm going to jump into this? And how is this a leap they can just make by calling Highwire?
Yes, we will help you transition to it. And the point is you do it now. As far as SOC versus SIM, the SOC should include the SIM. Our SOC, our platform, and our services has over 18 different applications built in it. Use that contact link below. We'd love to do a demo for you. But the point is to add this as part of your initial offering if you have tiered offerings. But if you have the idea is to have one offering and then adjust accordingly to your client's needs. But the SOC should be a part of it because we're solving that business problem that is cybersecurity.
Yeah. And Jeremy said exactly right there what we teach inside my 7-figure MSP program, which is don't offer tiers. Go at your client based on their ultimate needs and sell that. That's what you should be selling. It shouldn't be widgets. It's, meaning items. It shouldn't be that. It should be, we are going to solve your problem. Here's what all the things you need. we're going to solve this problem for you. That's what you sell. And if you charge properly, you're not going to have any problem with margin. And when I say properly, it's not $60 a seat or even $100 a seat. You should be charging $200 to $250 to $300 to $400. We had a guy close the deal at $450 a seat, all in. And then MSPs come to me and say, well, I don't know that clients will take that, or I don't know what to put in it. Here's how I qualify that personally. Look at your client. What are their needs? Just like Jeremy said, and think about what their needs are with an unlimited budget. That's what you should be selling. How do you solve that problem with an unlimited budget? That's what you should be selling, really. That's how you have to mitigate that problem today, because the thing that we haven't even talked about, which, Jeremy, we should actually do our next webcast that we do, or maybe a special one in between, on why risk and liability is such a big factor. Maybe we have a panel with you guys, and then maybe a couple other insurance people and liability people, because that is why you have to do this. Because why do you think they shut everything down for COVID? And it's really not. All the businesses aren't shut down because they're really worried about getting sick. They're worried about getting sued.
Chris, and I know you talked about this before. A lot of your cyber insurance brokers, they're requiring our type of services to be included from the MSP, and you're seeing it from a state level anyway. I think it was Louisiana that's really pushing hard to make sure the MSP is having the security stack built into it. So why not go ahead and get in front of this problem before it becomes a requirement, and you're just like every other MSP at that point.
And I think, we've been talking about this inside my program for a little while, that sooner than later here, this whole thing's going to be regulated sooner than later. And then the other thing that we're seeing is the MSP insurance brokers are starting to mandate managed security or master service agreements with cybersecurity clauses and all these other things in there. If you want to be insured, you have to have something like this in place. It's not simple.
Right.
Okay, so we got a couple other really good questions coming in from Capital IT here. If there are like a Cisco router in place, will the Overwatch monitor it also?
Yep.
100% vendor agnostic. Huge. This is what, you guys, I pick my vendors that work with us. This is why I pick these guys, because these guys are one that I would put in my, if I had an MSP right now, I had one and I sold it. I get that. I'm not an MSP owner now, but if I had one, I would put these guys in. That's why. That's one of the reasons why.
Those are easy questions. Keep those coming.
I like those questions. That's not even a plant. That's a real question. It's not even a plant question. I think we're pretty good on questions. One thing I want to point out for you, did you want to show the Overwatch monitoring thing at all, or do you not want to do that? Or what's your thoughts on that on your screen?
It doesn't matter. You can pull it up for a second, but guys, I know we've all gone through some tough times. So what we're doing is putting together an incentive plan. So please reach out to us, request a demo. Let's talk about what your user base looks like. Let's talk about your cybersecurity strategy. Let's see how we can build our partnership and how we can grow together.
Yeah, I think that's really key. What are we looking at here in the background?
So this is just our main dashboard of our platform. And if you just real quick, you'll notice the 4 pillars up top. We have the collection, detection, investigation, respond. On the left-hand side, you're looking at more of an asset view. And just to be clear to everybody, this is our deception sensor turned into a honeypot that's deployed across the world in GCP, Azure, and AWS. So this is not our clients or our real data. It is real time, but it's not anybody's data. But anyway,
that's way too geeky for me, man. I can't even keep up with that.
Just want to make sure I cross that off. So on the left-hand side, what you're looking at is more of an asset view. So we're looking at 25 assets that have the highest risk score, which is 100. In the middle of the page, you're looking at what our SOC analysts pay a lot of attention to. This is Lockheed Martin cybersecurity kill chain. Going through left to right, you can look at it. You notice that the 2 different numbers on here, we have critical events and we have anomalous events, and that's what we're aimed at detecting, because we want to understand, is it a threat? If it's anomalous, we need to understand if it's benign or a threat. Just going through the kill chain real quick for everybody. We have reconnaissance, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and action exfiltration when the data is leaving your environment. I'm sure many of you know, but I believe the average nest time of ransomware is around 257 days, 254, something like that. So it's our job to make sure that we can detect these things when they're in their early stages. So our SOC analysts, depending on what tier they're on, will generally work right to left to make sure we clear everything. Keep in mind, we're only looking at a 24-hour period here. And as we spoke about earlier, our platform is multi-tenancy, which adds a lot of value to us and to our MSP partners. So that way our MSP can see their entire landscape and then each tenant separately. This also goes into the machine learning aspect, but also into reporting aspect, which we can set up to be scheduled to go to you or your end customer if that's what you wish. And we can create new custom reports if that's what's needed. On the right-hand side, you're looking at our event view, so to say. So these are based on scores of fidelity and severity. And then you can see our SOC analysts will look at the magic quadrant in the top right-hand corner and work on those first and work their way back to 0. Now, I don't want to give away too much. I really want you guys to book a demo. We can dive deep into the weeds. We can either bring our CTO online to really get techie if you guys need to, and discuss how we can grow a partnership with us as well.
Yeah. So, Jeremy, that's awesome. You guys heard me say the whole time that I am a huge proponent of Highwire. I love the channel only. I love the vendor agnostic piece. I love the scalability factor. These are the reasons why these guys are here. Jeremy and I also had a previous relationship, so it's really cool. Okay, I think we're good. Let me just check, see if we have any other comments. Those of you that are watching live, Abby from your team put the Overwatch University link in the comments. You guys can take a look at that. She also put a description about it. Really helps.
Free. It's free, guys. No cost. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
cool.
Chris.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. Jeremy, really good job today. It's great to have you. We're actually 15 minutes over. That's how good this was. So, and we still got 30 people live with us, which is pretty awesome. So really good content today. You guys can book a free demo with Jeremy and the team over at Highwire Networks at highwirenetworks.com/Overwatch. You can see that there. If you want to talk to me or my team about what we do, please take a look at sevenfiguremsp.com. We teach you guys how to sell and how to get to those numbers that we're talking about. And we encourage you to work with Highwire Networks as part of your stack. It's a really, really great product. As you can see, all the stuff we did today. Jeremy, any final closing words from you?
No, thank you so much, Chris. You do a great job in the community. And guys, I blocked off the rest of my day. So if anybody wants to chat, anybody wants to hop on a demo real quick, please reach out to me. I'll be very active in the Facebook group the remainder of the day. Yeah,
and you can definitely watch the chat. You can comment in the chat on this. I'm going to do a watch party after this. You guys can comment and tag Jeremy, add him as a friend. He's a super guy. I shouldn't personally vouch for you, but I'm going to. So
I appreciate that, Chris.
You got it, buddy. Have fun on your trip to Illinois, as you said earlier, to see Mark if you ever go up there. That's funny. Okay, you guys have a great day. Jeremy, thank you as well. Highwire Networks, thank you as well. We'll see you guys soon on our next webinar next week. You guys keep crushing it. Take care.
Take it easy, guys. Stay safe.